Well, welcome everybody to today's webinar with Crossvale and Red Hat. The Crossvale Next Gen Banking Platform will be discussing about how we help empower mid-sized banks for digital success. This webinar is brought to you by Crossvale and Red Hat. What we'll be talking about today will be how to take a look at some different technologies that can help advance your modernization. And some of these technologies are focused on the Red Hat stack. So thank you, Red Hat, for the sponsorship. So our agenda today is we'll go through a quick introduction to kind of give you guys an understanding of who we are and why we're here. We'll talk about the challenges, give you a solution overview of what we're talking about on how to accelerate your modernization, why this is different than what else is out there, and then the next steps. If you have some interest, you want to learn some more information, you think this is something that's going to help you, how to reach out and get some more information. So first, introduction. So who's Crossvale? So just a little bit of background on us and why we're here as experts providing this webinar to you. We've been around for 22 years. We do also offer 24/7 service and support. And at the end of the day, I don't even want to be in the same room with them. And we'll make sure everybody's muted, please. Thank you. And
hey Todd, you are muted.
I am now unmuted. Okay, I guess I got muted during that last mute session there. So back to who's Crossvale. Been around 22 years. Offices in US and EMEA, Spain, UK, global headquarters in Dallas. We are a technology provider that provides services for enterprises and a specialty in the banking sector. Have many awards with Red Hat for the services that we provided. And a lot of people think about Red Hat and think about a lot of infrastructure type work. And we come from the app development side of the world and have brought our skills to Red Hat as DevOps and OpenShift and containerization, automation. Those kinds of things have been really a big a set of platforms for Red Hat. And so we really help people modernize all the way from the infrastructure up through their application development layer, as well as we have a managed service to help maintain what we have. And just through a few banks out there that we've worked with, many more out there in our book of business. You can see some big banks on here where we've done work in some of the big gigantic global banks, but our sweet spot's really going to be in the mid-sized organizations that are needing to have expertise to come in and help them with a prescriptive approach, so you don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to move to the next step here, which will be our passion. Our vision is to provide innovative and tailored solutions. We are leveling the playing field and helping our customers reach their full potential to enable them to rise above, compete, and leave a lasting mark in their industry. We feel like we've really done this for ourselves as well as for other organizations that we partnered with. Being able to have mid-sized organizations be disruptive and compete against the big players in your industry. This is what we really see as our passion, to help you be able to compete better by being able to be disruptive and build better solutions. Next up, we're going to be talking about the challenges, and I will be introducing Jose Alonso, who is our Chief Technology Officer, to walk through some of the challenges and solution overview on the Next Gen Banking Platform. Jose?
Hello, everybody. This is Jose. I'm going to be covering some of the next slides that we have. It's not a lot, but we want to go through why did we come out with this solution? What did we see that was needing to be fixed? So over the years, we have worked with many different banks, and this has been always some of the challenges that they have expressed to us. Almost all of them come from the same root cause. That is that the new customers, the customers today, they want a different type of experience. Their expectation is a lot higher than it used to be, and they demand solutions that we have not traditionally built. From a banking perspective, we have evolved a lot from like only like a branch only world into a world where they can engage with us through the different channels that we have built over the years. But the demand is growing because as more fintech companies come into this world, into this scenario, their behavior and their way of delivering as a technology company is forcing all banks to become that technology company. They don't accept anything else. Customers now, they will leave our bank, while before retention was easier based on reputation and trust. Now they move from one customer to another, from one bank to another, based on their applications and their way of engaging and their customer support and their phone support. So that is now also dragging and creating challenges everywhere else. Like when we want to create those solutions for them and the customers start engaging with us in that way, it creates challenges in our infrastructure, in our compliance, in our application development, in our processes, like for instance, disputes. The change of behavior in our customers, spending so much now on payments and payments growing so much, it increases the amount of disputes that we have on a 30% year over year industry-wide. So whatever we have that is a very like slightly inefficient, it becomes a very big issue when you apply thousands and thousands of instances. Can we go to the next slide, please? Todd? So this does not only stop in business, it also creates issues in technology. Traditionally, banks have been more of a bank or department centric. So a customer is a collection of deposits, or is a collection of loans, or is a collection of cards. Now that is shifting into a customer-centric environment where the customer is the key, and the customer and that relationship is the most valued treasure that we can have. So when we go into that, as we transition into that model, trying to get our cost of operation, our cost per customer a little bit lower, and our average value per customer a little bit higher, that is going to drive a lot of our results number-wise. But that also puts a big strain on how can we deliver solutions for these customers. So Todd, can you move to the next slide, please? When we are talking about delivering solutions, and again, trying to compete with fintechs and with the new way that the customers are expecting this functionality to be delivered, they are expecting speed. They are expecting things to change. They are expecting very, very fast ROI. They don't understand, customers don't understand the speed of regulation or how difficult it is to deliver application for a bank that needs to meet regulations, that have to meet quality controls, they have to meet all of that. They don't care. All they care is about receiving that functionality everywhere else, and to have a very, very nice customer experience. That's all they care about. Then is how can we develop products that matches those customers, and being able to identify or exploit the data to create an environment where we can have sales or customer service to be able to enhance how are we serving those customers, how are we creating an offer that is for the right customer at the right time. So all of this involves changing, involves a lot of speed, involves a lot of flexibility that are not something that many of the mid-sized banks have been working with. To add to the challenge, many in in this space, many of these is driven by COTS, by off-the-shelf type of solution that don't really add much for flexibility when we are wanting to create a customer experience that is differential from everybody else. That we want to create something that allows us to do certain thing, but we are constrained by the functions that are provided by our COTS. So if we move to the next slide, Todd, please. So considering all of these challenges, as we have been working with multiple banks, we went and designed something that can be leveraged to tackle these challenges without creating a massive disruption inside of the customers. So we went into a design where we have this very concrete set of goals. We want to be able to create personalized interaction. We want to be able to have a seamless branch to digital. We want to be able to have quick onboarding and very nice customer engagement. We want to make sure that we enable operational efficiency, that we can have streamlined processes where we can assign tasks, where we can have SLAs, where we can have all of these things that allow us to put a lot more processes, a lot more instances, and allow us to grow without having to grow linearly the workforce that we have associated to it. So we can keep the cost per customer a little bit low, while at the same time increasing their satisfaction. And of course, while we do all of this, compliance is keeping us busy with more and more changes, and changes that are coming at a very, very quick pace. So all of these solutions, whatever we design, has to be always compliant. And it's easy to be compliant. It's very, very difficult to stay compliant. So whenever we develop anything, there is an effort that is ongoing to make sure that whatever we build stays compliant. So there is always that constant check that you are still proper. Todd? To build this, we base this solution on 3 big pillars. One, have a very solid platform where we can deploy applications, where we can deploy services that will take care of part of the operational services for us. It's not the same to work with 1 VM than to work with 100 microservices. So as this solution is based on microservices, we want to make sure that we build this platform in a way that is operational, that it doesn't require a lot of manpower to make it run. We want to be able to build it with processes that allow us that speed and flexibility that we were mentioning before. And we built also these accelerators that we are going to go over in the next couple of slides, where we have adapters for multiple COTS, for multiple providers that are very common across the industry. You will see them in I think it's 1 slide after this. And we also build processes to allow us to do these deployments, this management, these changes in a way that is very, very fast and very, very convenient for everybody, for customers and for us. Can we move to the next? So what is this next-gen banking? What does it provide, and how can it be used? So in this next-gen banking platform, what we have built is a set of pre-built artifacts that we can deploy. And we can deploy at will. They are ready to go. We can come in and on day 1 have all of this running. As I said, all of this runs on a platform that is OpenShift, and all of these services are ready to be deployed on top of that platform. This is why the platform is very important, because it allows us to create environments and create solutions that we know that they will run no matter where. That platform runs on premise, that platform runs on cloud, that platform runs in a hybrid environment, on bare metal, on virtualized environments, virtually everywhere. Now, our solution builds on top of that, which means that we have now the option to run everywhere. We have customers that are running this on very limited network, not network available environments, very, very siloed. We have customers running this in public cloud with public access. It depends on each customer. So hence that customization part. If you see in the customization side, we have multiple things that needs to be customized for each customer. Like what is the networking, on which infrastructure are we going to deploy? What are the business continuity goals? What is our recovery point and recovery time objectives? What dashboard and KPIs do we want to have for being able to track all these functions? And then we go into the pre-built. I'm not going to read the full slide. You have it in front of you. You can read it. As we go into the pre-built, we have our standards, not only the services that we have that are ready to go. These are microservices. We have an operator that takes these microservices and make them run inside of the cluster. So the making it run part is very, very easy. But the biggest advantage is in the data model, in the networking, in the processes, in the templates. All of that is figured out. So you just have to come in, say, I want it. And then we come in, we install all of this, and we say, all right, is all of this what you want? Is this part what you want? You don't have to do it all. You can choose what you want and have a tailored engagement. So I want your processes, I want your data models, I want your GitOps, and I want these 3 orchestrators and these 2 bridges. I'll go into what is a bridge and what is an orchestrator in just 1 minute. But you can choose what do you want. That means that now this solution fits in many, many different places. It's not that one big chunk, it's microservices based. So you download this and it runs. Right now, this works on multiple API gateways, so you can use your own API gateway, or we can bring an API gateway. That same thing happens with the process manager. We can bring a process manager, it can work with your process manager. If you have a BPM already, we can use that. We have DevOps processes, but if you prefer to use yours, you can use yours and then keep our solution underneath. So it is very flexible and it's designed to work like that. As we go into the next slide, we will see how this application really works and what bridges do, what atomics do, and what orchestrators do. Todd,
Jose,
can you go?
Yeah, Jose, I got a quick question. So this is Todd. I'm CEO of Crossvale. What would be a good inflection point? Like if I'm a mid-sized bank and I have a legacy ESB or I have point-to-point integration, that type. Why would this be something that would be worth investing in for a bank and putting it in their roadmap for investment?
So banks go through multiple phases, like they go through M&A a lot, through merchant acquisition. They acquire other banks. Those banks come with their own set of challenges, channels, customers, etc. Whenever you have to do integration of new system of records, new databases, new streams of data, new streams of information, new channels, this is a good chance for this and a good entry point for this installation, because it takes care of that for you. Like if you are thinking about, I'm going to start using thesis, I'm going to change my card processor to be thesis, or I'm going to use, my bank has acquired this other bank and they run on IBS, but we run on systematics, and I need to be able to run in parallel for a while. Well, this gives you the integration to IBS out of the box. It gives you an API that is connected to IBS out of the box. So now you just have to build on top of that. When you have,
so it's that.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, so it's that. But what you're saying is they don't have to be at a point where they're going, I'm completely modernizing and I'm changing my core. It could just be a new channel. They could start off small and then kind of grow into it as there's more transitions. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So it's either we are adding a new system of record, we are adding a new channel, or we are refactoring an application. For instance, we have a customer that we are engaged right now, where they are refactoring one big monolith application and they want to split it into microservices, and they want to take take that application and connect it to more system of records. Like today, they only connect to one, but tomorrow they want to have real-time access to information across multiple data sets. So we are installing this for them. We are creating their own microservices for them. I think in the next slide, we can see this a little bit clearer. Can you go to the next slide, Todd, please? Not this one, the next one, please. Let's jump over this one. And go one more. So what we have in this slide is on the top, we have what we identify as system of records, systems where we have information. Our information is stored in that system of record. And then on the bottom, we have channels, things that are accessing that information to be displayed somewhere. We have very, very common vendors in the industry, like Pfizer or like Backbase or Genesis. And we have very, very common system of record like Thesis or FIS or Black Knight. So what we have done is we have built bridges. What we call bridge is a service that encapsulates all connectivity to those system of records. And then we have atomics that are representing what each application, what each operation is doing inside of our own infrastructure. So when we have to build on top of that, we don't need to worry about how does it work somewhere else. That application is now represented inside of my environment. And with that, we can build orchestrator services that are more logic heavy, where we can put logic to be able to augment what we are getting from the system of records. So in your question, for instance, let's imagine that we are now going to have Temenos as a new system of record that we didn't have before. So what happens is that if you click next, Todd, in the next slide, what happens now is that you build a bridge for that particular system of record, and now it's connected to your environment. Now you can consume their APIs. Now you can create functions based on the functionality that that system of record exposes. You can consume that information from every single channel, and it's all the same. This is an old story. This is the integration story. But the integration story is what enables us in this way to create very much more advanced functionality. So we can add automation, we can add streams, we can add sockets, we can add the AI that is working on top of all of this information and on top of all of these APIs to create more advanced behavior and more advanced engagements with our customers. Do you want to go to the next slide, please? So at the end of the day, when we have this solution, what we have is a platform that creates a very, very solid bedrock where we can deploy our services, our microservices. With those microservices and our solutions, that creates the environment where we can add more and more functions and better engagement with our customers, trying to solve those issues that we have explained at the beginning, those challenges that we are seeing in our customers through enablement of these solutions. So with this, I'm going to have just one more slide that is to introduce Todd to the next bit. Todd,
Jose, what if the client has a need for a different data model than what ours is structured as? How is it customizable?
So as I said before, we have things that are coming included in the platform, like ready to go, and they are ready on day one. We come in, we install, and it's ready to go using our own data model. Now, there are customers that are going to come and they are going to say, oh, no, I need you to fit this data model because this is the data model that I'm consuming everywhere else because I have it properly defined, or I want to use a PSD2 standard, or I want to use another standard. We can do that. That there is a place where we can choose which data model we want to use. Now, if it is a data model that we have already pre-built, is ready to go. If it is your own data model, then that will need to be customized. It's part of that customization that we were talking about in a couple of slides earlier. And now it's real. Why is this different? And I'm gonna pass it back to Todd for him to continue.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Very good overview on the technical part of this, and you know, we'll talk a bit about why it's different. I mean, Crossvale. I mean, obviously we have a proven track record. We pre-built this already, and it's in production, running in other banks. So it is not something that is getting proven, you know, in your organization. But the thing is, like, this is not a solution where you can just buy a commercial off-the-shelf software that's going to be able to solve this particular problem, because everybody has a unique set of channels and backends and a unique set of needs that we've created the flexibility so we can easily adjust quickly, so that you don't have to spend years of coding to get to the point where you're actually going to get your modernization. We can accelerate you to be able to get there much faster. And that's the biggest issue that most banks are running into is, I got a budget, and then how much time is it going to take? And the market moves so fast, changes move so fast. Being cost effective, scalable, and flexible makes it simple, so that as things change, the line of business can come to IT, and IT can quickly solve problems instead of being the thing that's slowing down why things aren't getting done. We have the banking expertise and a holistic approach, and we also have the managed operations and performance and security to go behind it. We understand this. We've been working in the banking industry for a long time, but everything we build, we have the ability to maintain that for you in perpetuity at a very cost-effective rate to do that. So you don't have to worry about issues with finding resources that are going to be able to do this, that we can handle that for you. Everything we built also, you can take on responsibility for. There is nothing that we're going to take away with us. If you decide you want to train your own resources and take on that management your own, it's your stuff to be able to own as well. So that way you're not held hostage on something saying, okay, well, if we have critical data running through this platform, and if they leave, it's going to cause us problems and lots of months or years of change. We build to be flexible, and also with a customer first attitude. So when it comes to platform confidence, we build on the best Kubernetes platform in the marketplace, which is OpenShift. If anybody's gone out there and done any research around Kubernetes, containerization, microservices, they will come to the conclusion that OpenShift is the very best platform that's out there. It's built for enterprises, and it's built hardened and secure. There's a lot of choices out there that you can go with. But with our solution wrapped around OpenShift, we have the confidence that when we plug this into a bank and dealing with compliance and security, we're bringing something to the table that's going to be easy for you to be able to use in your system. We also are bringing 24/7, 365 support, and we're providing dynamic tuning of that platform. So what we see often is people go in and modernize. They bring in new platforms. They bring in technologies that are new to them, and consultants come in and show them what they need to do, build some stuff, and then they walk out the door, and there's a checklist for people to kind of go through, and the checklist is static. And as things change in the environment, they lack the skills to be able to dynamically tune that environment, which ends up being costs going up because more and more resources start getting thrown at it, either engineers or infrastructure resources. And then you start looking back and going, wow, this modernization ends up costing us a lot more than we expected, rather than having somebody in there that can continue to dynamically tune things and keep your costs in line, so you're squeezing the most out of your platform and your infrastructure. That is a very big differentiator that we bring to the table that we're going to be helping you with as we work through your modernization. Application excellence. We have all the operational models built so that when we come in and we plug this in, we plug in all the stuff and related to your monitoring and how we maintain these, and we are able to then work inside your own processes as well to be able to integrate this, because this is not something where we come in and we say we demand this, things have to be this way. It's a collaborative approach to say we have processes, we have ways that we built this. What are your processes? What are the things that you guys are doing in your environment? How are you maintaining this? What do we have to do to be able to provide you with the right way to move to the modernization that you need? So we are adaptable on that. The biggest issue on modernization, knowledge. Not only the knowledge of how to architect this and how to build this, but the time it takes to get it all done, but also finding the resources that can actually build this can be very expensive, either high cost consultants, or you end up having to go out there and try to hire the resources and build this yourself, and it ends up taking a lot longer. Knowing how to even go find the right resources, we see in mid-sized organizations as a problem, especially where you have just a handful of enterprise architects. You guys know really well what you do, and you do exceptionally well in the technology you're in. But as you come into modernization, having somebody that's done this elsewhere come in and bring you up to speed, so you don't actually have to build all this code. The knowledge we're bringing to the table already pre-built for you, and then giving you options. Cost, also because we're using a blended team, we have an ability to give you a price point on these items in a way that it's very cost effective. Obviously, there's big global SIs out there that come in with really high price consultants to come help you solve these problems and bring a lot of value. We bring a lot of value. Mid-sized organizations are great for us. We can keep your budgets in line, and we've got all the pre-built pieces that come in that keep you from having to reinvent the wheel. Reduce time to confident. So we find that we can get people from 0 to confident on a new platform in a month, versus 9 months is what the average is that people take to be able to get confident to have critical workloads running in there, because we're bringing the operational models, and we're also plugging this in a way that we pre-built this before. So you're getting to a confidence level fast. And the reason why we built these teams is we've seen over the years, when we come into organizations and we present new technologies, the operations team is the one that holds things back, because rightfully they're like, man, I'm the one going to be holding the bag. If something goes wrong here, my guys need to know how to deal with this. And so until we get to that point that I can confidently maintain this, we're going to have to take this slow. And that's the thing where our team comes in and works with the operations arm and helps them understand, mentors them along the process. But we're the safety net there, so that if anything does go wrong, you don't have to go, man, I'm trying to explain to the board why we had a problem, because we're there to help you through those issues if anything like that ever comes up. Reduce time to start. We have a lot of this pre-configured and pre-built, so you don't have a huge amount of analysis that has to work. You have to understand what your end goal is. What is your end goal that you're trying to accomplish? We can come in and go, based off what your end goal is, this is how much pre-built stuff we already have to be able to solve that problem for you, so that we can come up with what that gap is, so you can understand very quickly what it's going to take to get started, and what the gap is between our pre-built stuff and what your changes are. We have those processes in place to be able to get you there fast. Remove risk of failure. Never had a failed project. This stuff that we come in and we do, you will be successful. Remove vendor lock-in also. Like I discussed before, everything we build, you can run, you can maintain. We're using enterprise solutions here, so you don't have vendor lock-in. And then reduce team stress. When you're using our 24/7, 365 proactive and reactive maintenance on it, you don't have to worry about getting calls at 3 a.m. Because of a system or a problem. Our team is covering that, so that way you get a report on what happened and how it was solved. Complete solution, compliance, subscription compliance. Pick your infrastructure wherever you want to run this. You want to run it in the cloud, you want to run it on Power, you want to run, we have one customer running inside FIS's AWS environment. We run on Microsoft, we run in your own data center, hybrid. So whatever your infrastructure is, whatever the new infrastructure you are planning on going to, you want to run on Azure HCI in your data center, where you're basically running Azure in your own data center at 25% of the cost. We can do that as well. We can help you build that also. Scoped custom build of the platform. This is stuff that's proven that you don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. And then the operational models we already have pre-built for you. So cost of waiting is high. Yeah, everybody knows here. Technology moves fast. Customers are more demanding today. It is easy for customers to move to a different bank today, much easier than it was before. Back when you used to have to walk into a branch and sit in front of that banker for 45 minutes to open an account, find the time to do that, have a wet signature. In most cases, all of that is gone. People can easily switch. Disruptors are out there. So you're increasing technical debt by waiting. Increased operational costs as you're continuing to use older legacy systems that have higher operational costs. That all affects the bottom line. Reduce the agility and flexibility. If you aren't being the most agile and flexible in your regional markets or in your marketplace, somebody else, your competitor, is and taking away market share. Reduced competitiveness, and that is the falling behind competitors, where if they're doing it better and faster, you may not see this overnight, but over a period of time, the market share starts to move because the customer experience is better elsewhere. And then increased security risk. As you're in older legacy systems, there is increased security risk. Modernizing and moving to systems that have more security options with a team that understands how to help you with that, you reduce that security risk. So last is next steps. So we talked about the platform, we talked about our solution, we talked about the problems, the challenges, how there's a difference out there in what's out there. You can't go out there and buy a COTS solution and just solve this problem. And this is a problem where if you haven't seen it yet already in the type of COTS solutions you're providing, every provider at some point is going to be moving to containerization. So you're going to need to have some sort of container capability, because they're going to start coming and saying, hey, the only way you can accept our solution that you're using is by running it in a container environment. And the reason why is the same reason why you guys will be building this type of environment. It is cheaper to run. It is cheaper to maintain, and is more flexible. So as a COTS provider does that, they will be pushing that down on all their customers over time, and you have to be able to take on those responsibilities. So engage with the Crossvale team. Maybe you have a project that's a year and a half out, or you're looking at this in the roadmap for your budgets for next year, or you have some project or some channel that you're looking at implementing. Engage with us to be able to have that conversation. This is what our problem is. This is what we're trying to solve. How does your next gen banking help us accelerate where we're at to be able to get there faster? Let us get in that conversation with you so you can see how we can plug this in and how cost effective our approach can be as you're modernizing. So engage with us. We can work on workshops together. We can build custom scopes. We can design something specific for you, or roll out what our standard is that we already have built, and then set up delivery. So if you we'll send out this deck. This deck will end up it has some examples of a few banks where we provided some solutions. We work with many banks across the world, and if you need any banking references, we can definitely get banking references that'll give exceptional value that Crossvale knows what they're doing. Take down this or go to our website, crossvale.com/contact, or just go to our website to the contact page and just say, hey, I was at the webinar, interested, got this problem. I'd like to understand, how you guys can help us with this problem. And we'll have one of our specialists that's focused in your area reach out to you so that we can work through how we can help you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and thank you, Red Hat, for sponsoring this event with your exceptional platforms. If anybody needs to get some more information on anything related to the Red Hat platforms as well, feel free to reach out to Red Hat, to your Red Hat rep, or reach out directly to Crossvale. We are one of the top providers of Red Hat platforms, so we can help you with that as well, if you have any questions around the Red Hat stack as well. Thank you guys so much. If there Laura, do we have any questions that is in the chat that we need to address before we drop off?
Yes, there's a question here. How can banks ensure that their customers have a seamless experience as they modernize their systems? Jose, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can
Jose,
take
you're
that
on
one.
mute. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So the idea of creating an API first mentality, of creating functions that are being reused and creating an enterprise architecture rather than a point-to-point architecture. That's what enable us to ensure that the same data, the same information that we are sharing in one channel is going to be shared in a different channel. It also allows us to expose certain functions to more than one channel. For instance, in one of our implementations, we augmented this solution with a workflow engine. So whenever a customer wanted to do something, they had access to absolutely the same APIs that we had for branches, for tellers, for customer service. So it allowed the bank to create a self-service portal where the customer could go in and even create a dispute, create a complaint, create a service request, all from the same type of application and using the same functions that we had developed for their employee-facing apps. Of course, there is some tweaks that you need to do because you will not share the same information with an employee than with a customer, but the whole idea is that all APIs should have that in mind when they are being designed.
I think that implementation, we replaced 17 other systems they were paying annual fees on, right?
Correct.
Yep. And then we also reduced, because the customer service agents had to learn all those different systems, and we reduced that down to them only having to learn one. So the time to getting new guys up to speed was tremendously faster. I think they dropped that from months to like 3 weeks.
And it's not only that, also like from running, like I think it was something like 10,000 disputes per month to running 25,000 disputes with the same amount of people, not having to scale up their department. From having a response time and resolution time of a month to a week in 90% of the disputes. So having the chargeback would happen immediately after the fraud was detected. Having fraud to be able to block and reissue cards automatically, reducing the amount of work that you require from the card operators. So it's a lot of small incremental advantages and improvements that at the end makes a lot for the customer.
All right, very good. Laura, any other questions?
Yeah, there's another question. What are the key drivers pushing traditional banks to embrace next generation banking modernization?
So
yeah,
I can take that. I guess that I'm not gonna be alone answering this one because I'm gonna give you my perspective. My my 90% of my day is working with multiple banks, and what I see is that banks are trying to get up to the same speed that a technology provider can do to provide functions and provide experience to their customers. Customers, they expect a lot more, they expect a lot faster, and they don't understand limitations on flexibility. The fact that the banks are using codes or not, they don't care. All they care is that they want to have a very good experience that transition well from one place to another. They don't understand having to sit down for 20 minutes to create an account. They understand that accounts should be created in 7 minutes and online. They understand that a card should be originated in less than 5 minutes. They understand that disputes is something that I want to be able to create online. I want to be able to create from my phone, from the transaction list. I'm seeing this transaction and it's not mine. I want to be able to click on it and I want to submit it. So there is a big push on creating that digital experience, there is also a big push in maintaining the cost down, maintaining the cost of operation low, and creating a bigger environment or a better environment where new sales and new AI initiatives can take place. For instance, we are working with another customer that they are creating one of these AI models that creates the right offer for the right customer at the right time. That's the slogan. And the idea is to identify, based on the engagement of that customer with us, what can we offer them, and present it to those customers at the right moment. So whenever they hit a branch, they are presented with that. Whenever they come to the digital experience, to the mobile banking or the online banking, they will get that offer. If they don't, they would get an email, they will get an SMS, a text. Handling all of that customer interface is key. And that customer interface is pushing a lot of these banks to create something different. Also, as we explained earlier, doing merchant acquisition, whenever you have to do refactor or you have to relook at what you have and make sure that it fits what is coming, or whenever you are looking at a different provider and you are taking that opportunity to either get rid of some technical debt that we haven't done in the past or be able to do something better for your customers. That's what I'm seeing from my experience. I'm sure that there are other things out there that are happening at the same time.
So I got a personal example that just happened this week on how a customer thinks. What a credit card that I use for business expenses, I got double charged from the vendor on something. One, it was something that was supposed to be charged the week before, and they charged it twice. So I went on the website and went to go dispute it, and the credit card provider didn't have a way for me to dispute it without having to call and do it. So now I have made the decision, all my business expenses are going on to a different card because I don't want to deal with that if that comes up again, because I didn't realize that they didn't have that functionality. And now that I realized it, I've changed the way I'm working with that bank to a different bank that I know if I have that same thing, I can just log in and I can do a dispute in seconds rather than having to get on the phone and wait 15 minutes to talk to somebody. That's a personal experience of exactly a reason why a customer would sit there and go, okay, I'm a digital reason is causing me to change the way I'm interacting with the bank.
Today, the competition is fierce and the products are very, very close one to one another. Like a deposit account is a deposit account. Is not that different, a deposit account in this bank from a deposit account in another bank. There is very, very little difference in the product. Is how do we position that product, when do we position that product, and how easy do we make it for the customer to work with us? What is going to make them buy the product? Again, this is my experience. I'm pretty sure that other people have a different experience.
Laura, do we have any other questions?
Yes, we do have another one. This one is, can you elaborate on how Red Hat solutions support real-time data analytics for improved decision-making in banking operations?
This is a great question. This is a very, very good question. So when we develop all these solutions, like sometimes to me, one of the things that I have as a purpose, because I'm very technologist, is to not lead with technology, lead with value, lead with how are we creating value for the customer. So sometimes we forget to talk about how are things working underneath the covers. So in this case, whenever we have this solution, one of the key components of this, of our next-gen banking platform, is our streams. We create streams of data that we expose to other channels that allow them to do whatever they need to do with that data. We have data lakes where we are pushing data into the data lake to make it accessible to everybody. We have cache using JBoss Data Grid for being able to access that data very quickly. we have the APIs and the streams to share that data with either the request that is coming or the subscriber to our queue. And all those things is what is pushing the data to the next tier of application. That tier of application that requires data to be able to create more value. I don't know if I answered your question, Andrew. I'm looking at the chat now. If it is not the answer that you want, please reach out to us, and I'd love to jump on a call with you and go over the details.
Well, Jose, how does this enable AI ML? Like, our platform enables data science, and kind of as people are looking at kind of moving that direction, how can they get involved in that? How does this help them?
So there are two main things when we talk about AI or ML. One part is we need data to feed the AI, to feed the models, to feed the training, and we need an execution environment. With OpenShift, we get the execution environment because everything runs on top of it. We can run PyTorch, we can run Spark, we can run TensorFlow, we can run all kinds of models inside of OpenShift. We have MATLAB, we have RStudio, we have Python. All of them are available on top of the same platform where we are running this solution. And it's open to be able to install those tools. So there is a second advantage of using this is that the platform is open. Like, you have the option to deploy more things on top of this platform. One of them would be AI. So now that we have taken care of the execution platform, let's think again about the data. Anytime that we are accessing this data that is in the remote systems, that is very disorganized, disorganized when you are looking at an overall, at an enterprise level, you have the option to be able to create those feeds into data lakes. That is part of this solution as well. The data lake, which technology you choose to use is your decision. What we do is we build those flows, those pipelines of data that go from the different system of records into that data lake. So that is a little bit more specific per client. It's not so much generic, but that is the way it is going to work. It is very specific. It is specific because at the end, your data scientists will define what data are they looking for, how are they expecting it. If they want in a NoSQL, or they want it in text, if they want in a SQL, whatever structure they want, we will fit.
So if they have data scientists or focus on the data scientists and the execution engineers, we can actually provide the platform with the AI ops aspect of it for us to be able to operate it, and they just focus on their models and their execution.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. All right, any other questions, Laura? I think if we go to the chat, we're probably all caught up. Yeah. So please, if you have any additional questions, reach out through crossvale.com contact, and we'd love to get on a call and discuss your particular question or the details of what you're trying to solve and how we could partner together. So thank you, everybody, for your time today, and everybody go out there and enjoy this beautiful weather that we're starting to come into in fall, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.
Thank you.